Welcome back, everybody. So with this video, I'm going to try to do something a little bit different. So on the channel, I primarily post battle footage, but this time I'm actually going to try and create a Stardust guide because this global celebration, Blanche's Stardust Week, this is going to be a big deal, especially for PvP. So while there are a lot of tips for gathering Stardust, and we're going to get into basic tips and advanced tips, there's also going to be a lot about Stardust usage for PvP as well, because there are a lot of things holding people back from joining PvP, and I think the number one barrier to it is the Stardust cost. So we have to get that cost down or make it easier for people to actually have access to the Stardust they need to build their teams for the individual cups. So as we're coming to the end of season 1 of the Sylph Arena, this is the perfect time to get our Stardust count up. We're gonna have this, and then it was just announced September 15th is Turtwig Day, and there will be triple catch dust for that as well. So these events are gonna tie in really well, and it's gonna help us build our Stardust reserves going into season 2. And we always talk about wanting more Stardust, and we're finally going to get a whole week dedicated to it with an insane amount of bonuses. So this is what we've been waiting for, and let's get into it. Starting off with what we already know, we're going to get the 3 times Catch Stardust, the 3 times Hatch Stardust, 1 hour star pieces as opposed to the normal 30 minutes, and 3,000 Stardust guaranteed per raid. Going back to the whole basis of Pokemon Go, that means lots and lots of catching. So when we break down the basic numbers for catching, with the 3 times multiplier plus the star piece, you're going to be getting a total 4.5 times multiplier. So your first evolution is going to be worth a whopping 450 Stardust per catch. Your first evolution with a weather boosted Pokemon is 563. And then it gets really crazy when you look at the second evolution at 1,350 dust per catch. And then the second evolution plus a weather boost is 1,688 dust. Now, some players might not be aware of this, but there is actually a catch cap. So after you catch a certain amount of Pokemon, you'll throw a ball at something and it'll immediately break out and run. And this happens over and over again. When that happens, it means you've hit the catch cap. So the rumored catch cap is 7,000 Pokemon in a week. So you can actually catch more than 1,000 a day. It's just the 7,000 over a rolling 7-day period is where you're going to hit the cap. Moving on to eggs, the 3 times hatch multiplier will still count. We're also going to get that 1.5 star piece multiplier stacked on top as well for a total, again, of 4.5 times the normal dust. So what I did here was I broke down the 2K eggs, the 5Ks and the 7Ks together, and then the 10Ks by themselves. And the numbers you see there, 2,700, 5,400, and 10,800 are actually the average dust for the hatch. Down below, that's my egg math. Essentially, the 2K egg is worth 400 to 800 Stardust under normal conditions, with an average of 600 cut down the middle, and then you add the multipliers on top of that. So I think it's no understatement to say that when you are hatching a lot of eggs with your star piece on during this event, you're going to rack up Stardust extremely fast. The third key Stardust bonus is for raids. So you're going to be getting 3,000 dust per raid, and that jumps to 4,500 with the star piece active. So I think I'd be remiss to mention raids without first mentioning Suicune Day. So as you know, during these legendary days, we're going to have the legendary beast spawning for 3 hours at almost every single gym on the map as far as you can see. And Suicune Day is no exception. For the first 5 raids, those passes are going to be free. All you need to do is spin the stop at the gym and you'll receive the free orange raid pass. Just doing those 5 raids with the star piece on, you'll get 22,500 dust. That's insane, and there's no reason not to do it. There's no reason not to get out in the community and have a fun time taking down Suicunes and trying to get the shiny. Suicune Day is scheduled for August 17th. And just looking here at the numbers, if you were to ride around with some friends or be able to do more than just the first 5 raids, your Stardust gains start to leap upwards. For 15 raids, 67,500 dust. For 20 raids, 90,000. And when you hit 25 raids, you break over 100,000 Stardust. Now, there's some hardcore raiders here in Tampa that are able to pull out between 30 and 40 raids on these special days. And for the 40 raids, you'll make 180,000 Stardust. If you're really crazy, maybe you can do 50. That's going to be a whole lot of a Wafu rating going on there. You can make almost 250,000 Stardust in just those 3 hours. And finally, I'd like to mention other ways to gain Stardust. These are not related to catching or hatching, so you will only have the 1.5 times boost from the star piece. But still, while you're in the business of getting Stardust together, these are all really good options to pursue as well. So for the quest rewards, they come in portions of 200 Stardust, 500 Stardust, 750 Stardust, and up to 1,000 Stardust for some of the sponsored stops. So you'll see that jump from the star piece to 300, 750, 1,000, 125, and 1,500 for those quest rewards. Do a few of those and you can gain a lot of dust really fast. Also, berries. If you have a star piece active, you get 30 dust instead of the normal 20. We'll get into berry strategy a little bit later here in the video. PvP battles, you know you can get rewards. I think it's 3 times per day. That could be 750 dust per reward. And then opening the gifts. So this one's interesting because we do have the current gift event going on. So you actually are able to open more gifts than normal. So definitely do this, especially during the first few days of the Stardust week, as the gift event will still be going on. And then the Team Rocket battles as well. We get 500 Stardust from all of those battles, and this is just another way for us to gather more Stardust. Now that we've covered all the other bases, we're going to talk about how to be the very best. These are advanced Stardust strategies. Number 1 is stacking encounters. Number 2 is berry farming. Number 3 is a concept called batching. Number 4 is community. And 5 is the current ongoing gift event. Now, stacking counters is not a new concept. A lot of players will do this in case they need to have Pokemon ready to catch so they can keep their daily streak going. All you need to do is spin the Pokestop, get the research encounter task, complete the task, and then when you trigger the research encounter, you simply run away from the Pokemon and it will store that Pokemon in your research encounters tab. That means that you can go back and you can catch those Pokemon whenever you want. Now you can stack up to 100 encounters, but the ones that we need to look at are these here in particular. So there are a few research tasks that you need to get and prioritize these heavily. The first is catch 5 fighting type Pokemon, that gives you Breloom. The second is use 5 berries to help catch Pokemon, and that gives you Weeping Bell. And then use 5 Nanab berries to help catch Pokemon, which gives you a Swalot. And then use 10 Pinap berries to help catch Pokemon, which gives you Loudred. Now, the reason that we highlighted those 4 encounters are because they are second stage evolutions. And if you think back to the Stardust chart that we made earlier, the second stage evolution is going to award you 1,350 Stardust with the 3 times bonus and the star piece on. Now, it's important to remember that the encounters are not going to give you the weather boost. So whereas it would be 1,688 dust, we're going to have to settle for the 1,350. When we look at these research encounters, if you're able to stack up all 100, that could net you 135,000 dust just from catching those encounters that you've already stored. Now, the current gift event and Go Fest in Yokohama has made this a little bit more difficult because the research tasks have changed. However, during the event, I think that these research tasks are going to either revert or we're going to get new second stage evolution encounters, and you need to keep an eye out for those. These are great for catching in between your regular spawns. So if you're walking around and you've caught everything in your line of sight and you need to keep the Stardust rolling because you have a star piece on, just go ahead and trigger these encounters until you find new spawns. Now, the second strategy I'll mention is called berry farming. So when you put a Pokemon in the gym, you have the option to feed it a berry. Now with the star piece on, you're going to get 30 dust per berry feed, and there's a chance at being awarded a candy for that Pokemon. Now once you place one of your Pokemon in the gym, you can feed a berry to every other Pokemon in that gym per every 30 minutes. So that's 60 berries every 30 minutes, which will net you 1,800 dust. So the moral of the story here is to never throw away your berries, even if they're the stupid Nanab berries, or if you have extra raspberries that you don't really need because you're fast catching, you need to save those berries so that you can feed them to the gyms and get a little bit more Stardust. And the key PvP tip here is that you need to place your key Pokemon in gyms. And I made a little infographic here of a lot of Pokemon that are rare and in demand. And if you bury these Pokemon, you can get your candies up as well, because the only other three ways to do that normally would be to catch them in the wild, which is really tough, to walk them as your buddy, or to dump the rare candies into them. So in this chart, we have Garchomp, which obviously is extremely rare and extremely good in PvP and raids. We have Riolu, which as you know becomes Lucario, Krogunk, Shieldon, Shinx, Meltan, Cranidos, Skuntank, and Combee. Advanced Stardust strategy number 3 is called batching, and this essentially just means you're stacking your Stardust opportunities. So I'll give you a scenario. Let's say that you are ready to pop a star piece and you're trying to get the most out of that 1 hour that you possibly can. So before popping your star piece, make sure to walk your 10k eggs to 9 kilometers. Try to get them within 1 kilometer of hatching. If it's a 5k egg, walk them to 4. If it's a 2k, then go ahead and walk them up to 1 or a little bit over 1 kilometer. You want to stack your research encounters so you have something to catch when you're not catching wild spawns. You want to find a good location, a good loop, as a lot of players like to say, so you can spin stops and make catches at the same time. And then finally, you want to leverage your daily and weekly streaks. So this is your first catch of the week, or your 7-day catch streak, which if you've been planning ahead, you'll be able to hit twice during this event. First on the first day of the event, and secondly on the last day of the event. These are all things that you can stack in order to get more Stardust out of your efforts. The fourth advanced Stardust strategy is leveraging your community. So Pokemon Go has always been more fun with friends, and there is no exception here when we talk about Stardust farming. So the first thing I want to mention is that you can bring people together and do lure parties. It's hard to lure up an entire location by yourself, but when you have a few friends involved and you're all having a good time walking in your loop or just hanging out at a static location, it can be really easy to just say, hey, you know, I'll throw on the lure here, and then you can do 1 in 30 minutes, etc., etc. The second is having a Stardust buddy. So a lot of players like to grind dust alone, but if you have a friend with you, it makes it even more fun. You can kind of walk around and make small talk and keep yourself entertained, and before you realize it, your Stardust count just goes up and up and up. The third strategy is related to vehicles, and I like to call this having a dust bus. For the dust bus, all you need is a car or an SUV if you have a lot of people that are interested, and a designated driver who's willing to drive and not play the game while they're driving, because that is very unsafe. You want to target a specific loop where you can make your rounds in a vehicle and not have to get out of the car, and essentially just spin stops and make your catches for a designated amount of time and have a great time with your friends while you do it. And the fourth strategy is exploring. So a lot of folks will stay in their normal town, their normal area, in order to farm dust because they're familiar, but let's say you have a community half an hour away that has a really good grinding spot where there are a lot of stops and a lot of Pokemon that spawn. You can always explore that area and go there with your friends. Maybe bring your dust bus, or maybe go there by yourself to check it out. There are always really great opportunities to explore and plenty of new places to see. The fifth and final advanced Stardust strategy that I would like to mention is the current gift event. So as you know, you can carry more gifts than normal and you can send more gifts than normal. So we need to be maximizing this event in the days leading up to the Stardust week and the Stardust week itself. The Stardust reward per gift is 150 dust. And because our limits have been raised, this gives us an opportunity to make even more Stardust just from leveling up our friendships. Next, you can't forget that these gifts are going to give you Great Balls and Ultra Balls. These are really helpful for catching when you have a normal Pokeball and you're trying to catch something that is a little resistant, like a starter Pokemon. And then I would be remiss to mention the higher chance of getting Lucky Friends, because a lot of Pokemon max out under 1500 CP for PvP, and they are very, very good. And this Lucky Friend option gives you a better chance at getting those Pokemon lucky, so you save a lot of Stardust in the process. Making new PvP friends is always fun. I've included the link down to the Go Stadium Discord in my description in case you'd like to add some friends from around the world, or you can always add friends in your community or communities close to you. Now, this chart is by no means conclusive, but there are a lot of Pokemon that are great for PvP that max out at under 1500 CP, and they are extremely expensive to invest in because you need that 250,000 dust just to make them reach their top level. So here I have a few that are highlighted. Starting from the left side and going to the right, we have Vigoroth, Dustox, Grimer, Munchlax, Medicham, Haunter, Sableye, Trash Wormadam, and Bastiodon. Now that we've covered all that, let's see if it's actually possible. Can we farm 1,000,000 Stardust per day during this event? So here I prepared for us a very easy to read chart. It's broken up into different brackets. Starting at the top left, we have catching, then hatching in green, berries, daily streaks, gifts, and quest rewards. And this is essentially a snapshot of what a day during this event might look like. This is by no means conclusive or the only way that you can reach 1,000,000 dust. I think there are actually probably easier ways to do it, but this is just a quick example that I made for us. So let's say you were to catch first stage evolutions with no weather boost. If you caught 300 of them, you would net 135,000 dust. Now keep in mind, this is with the star piece and the 3x multiplier on, so we're essentially getting the 4.5 times multiplier. To continue the catching portion, if you catch 700 first stage Pokemon with weather boost, it will net you 393,750 dust. Going on to hatching, the 2K eggs I have here number 31, the 5K and 7K are 30, and the 10K are 18. Now I want you to take a quick look at the egg chart here. I think the eggs are the key to this event because with your 2Ks you can hatch 31 and make 83,000 dust. With your 5 and 7s, you can hatch 30 and make 162,000 dust. And with the 10Ks, just by hatching 2 batches of 10Ks, because you can carry 9 at a time, this is 2 batches, you net almost 200,000 dust. If you compare that to the catching above, with your first stage weather boost, you'll have to catch 700 Pokemon just to equal the 2 batches of 10K eggs. That is insane. So I think the key to this event is the incubators. It's to always be incubating, ABI. Remember that, guys. With berries, if you were to feed 300 berries in a day, it would net you 9,000 Stardust. That is a little more time intensive and a little more tedious. I'm not sure that I will follow through with that, but some players will just to get that extra bonus and then to farm those PvP relevant Pokemon as well. With the daily streaks, you can turn on your star piece and you can trigger that as well. It takes your bonus up to 900 Stardust. With the gifts, I'm estimating you open 10 and you get the Stardust reward for 10 of those, especially during the gift event, to give you 1,500 dust. And then with the quest rewards, I just have the aggregate number there for Stardust reward. I believe it's 500. If you open or if you complete 30 task rewards, you can get 22,500 dust. This chart will give you a grand total of 1,002,750 dust. Now, whether or not this is sustainable every single day during the event, or if this is a one-day kind of thing for you and you're happy with your 1,000,000, or you net this throughout the entire event, that's totally okay. 1,000,000 dust is still a lot of Stardust, and this is just one way to get there. I'm actually going to include a spreadsheet in the description that you can download, and it'll let you play around with the numbers to see how you can reach your own goals for Stardust through the event. I would like to touch briefly on equipment and what you should be carrying or what you should bring while you're doing your Stardust grind. So starting from the left to the right, we have the Go Plus and the Gotcha. These are really, really good for catching, especially if you're going to be busy doing something else. So if you're at the zoo or you're with your family or you're not purposely having your phone open all the time, these are great tools that you can use. You just sync them to your app and then you can catch automatically without having to look down at your phone. Above that is a portable battery pack. A lot of players will bring these on community days because it can be so intense and you don't want to stop playing and your phone battery might not last the whole time that you're grinding dust. Next is a water bottle. You need to make sure that you stay hydrated throughout all of this, especially if it's a sunny, hot day. It is still the summer, and definitely be mindful of the temperature and the weather wherever you live. Next are a comfortable pair of shoes, and then finally, you can't go without your awesome Team Mystic backpack. Everyone can agree that Blanche's Stardust Week is the best week of the rewards this year, making Blanche the best team leader in the game, hands down. I just wanted to thank everybody who watched this video until the end. As you know, on my channel, I just do battle footage primarily, and this is my first time actually doing an instructional guide. I just felt like it was really important to maximize this event for PvP players because the Stardust barrier is the biggest barrier that I see to more people joining the player versus player scene. I actually want to hold a small contest as well, so I need everybody to take a screenshot of their Stardust amount before the event and then a screenshot of their Stardust amount afterwards. I know this might be a little bit tricky because we will be spending Stardust throughout the event, especially as our final cups of the year are this month. But whoever gains the most Stardust, I will do a shout out to them on the channel and might even ask them what their Stardust strategies were and do a quick little interview with them as well. Either way, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found this informative, please give me a like or a comment or even a subscribe. And if you found something in this video that might be useful to a friend, please feel free to share it with them, as I think that spreading information is one of the best ways to get people more interested in the game and in PvP as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.